Hello friends, we are going to discuss the continued part of persuasion because we have seen that persuasion is a kind of communication that needs expertise, that needs honesty and sincerity to impress the very mind of persuadee. So we have seen that the person should be honest and person should have expertise while impressing the mental attitude of the persuadee. Now let us see the keys to positive persuasion, because we should focus on the positive persuasion and we should avoid the negative persuasion. So what are the keys to positive persuasion? Be positive to persuade, that is to say, be honest, be sincere, know your facts and present them in a knowledgeable manner. So knowing about yourself and give the accurate picture to the persuadee. Make sure you are understood. Talk to the decision maker. Never engage in personal attacks on your adversary, either directly or indirectly. That is to say, don't be prejudiced and don't be biased. You should maintain your balance, your emotional balance, and there is no need to become emotional while dealing with the persuadee. Now again, the keys to positive persuasion: if possible, support your arguments with reference to third party, since this adds credibility. Show the other side how you can solve a problem they have. And your appearance does count. It does count, and it is, if your appearance is positive, automatically persuadee gets satisfaction. Now, decision making through persuasion. What function does the persuasion process serve? The persuasion process is a mean of reaching decision. The process may provide the stimulus for a receiver to reach a decision. It is a stimulus process, that is to say, the cognitive aspect, so much of force that the persuadee decide to take a decision. So the persuasion process is a means of reaching the decision. Now, is persuasion involved in logical decision making? Yes. The information a man has is in part the result of persuasion efforts directed at him. Persuasion and the individual. Why do you persuade? It is a very important point. That what is the logic behind persuasion? To fulfill my needs, to get and keep a good job, to accomplish my goals, and to get what I want. And as I said, that negotiation and persuasion, these two tools are very important for the professional of sales and marketing, and also of business, sometime even in the personal family. That is also there, how to impress your kids. Now, persuasion and the individual. A persuader, how to persuade? Persuasion is a tool that enables us to come to mutual accommodation. Mutual accommodation means that both the interests should get satisfaction and should get some space. Failure of persuasion can produce a stress we cannot tolerate and fragment relationship or ourselves. Now, persuasion is a tool for the receiver. It may serve him or it may destroy him. What can persuasion do for the receiver? At the most basic level, it aids him in the decision making process. It puts others to work for his benefit. That is to say, to neutralize the dilemma position. To be or not to be, what should be done? So the persuasion may neutralize the dilemma position to take a proper decision. Persuasion and society. For a society to exist, the people within it must accommodate themselves to one another, and a means to reach decisions must be found. Because the main purpose of persuasion is to get a decision, to get a result. Persuasion is, in one sense, the coin of interaction. Individual decisions often involve other individuals. Now, motivation, attitude and behavior, the part of persuasion, can we as individuals control our own motivations, our own responses? Sometimes very difficult. Can we as persuaders create and direct the motivations and the response of others? Probably the answer to both the question is yes, to a degree. To some extent, most of the cases yes, and in some of the cases maybe no. Now, as persuaders, we seek to affect the motivations of others so as to affect a desired outcome. We have already discussed the outcome and ecology, and we have seen that how we should make the frame of a person to get the desired result. A persuader's psychology is evolved, accurate by the persuader. It may lead him to manipulate stimuli that can affect the motivation of another. As the persuader typically seeks an attitude change, the persuasion concept testifies to the possibility of alteration of attitude. But clearly, the possibility of change is greater for some attitude than for others. Values are important because they are influences on almost any behavior, and in one sense the goals of an individual are linked to the values he holds. In this sense, values become important elements in persuasion in terms of both source and receiver. Anger as a persuasive tactic. Anger can be a very compelling influence on the other party's behavior. Growing angry at an unreasonable tactic or offer shows that the angered negotiator believes the other party ought to abandon that tactic or position. Growing angry at the other party's behavior in negotiations also has the advantage of functioning as an unspecified threat. So, the decision to persuade to achieve many of his goals and to get many of his needs, man must affect his environment and the forces opening in it. Man must therefore use the tool of persuasion. Every person is a potential persuader, beginning with the earliest influences upon us as children. Experienced teacher that persuasion is generally an acceptable means of influencing those around. Now, selecting the specific persuasion purpose. Having made the decision to use the persuasion instrumentally, the persuader must refine the general impulse into a specific persuasion purpose. Factors affecting formation of the specific purpose. What are the factors? First, the persuader may be responding to a highly specific need. Secondly, the persuasive effort may be a response to the persuasive efforts of other. Third, the persuasion effort may be the result of an assigned task. Fourth, the forces or factors that induce the person to become a persuader may fix the specific purpose. The knowledge, understanding and abilities of the persuader will structure his purpose. The receiver may determine the specific purpose, and receiver analysis may cause the persuader to adjust, discard, reshape his goal. So, these are the factors from formation of the specific purpose of persuasion. Now, the process of selecting the specific purpose. The persuader needs co-frame a rather a specific purpose by translating this general purpose into the reality of his subject matter, receiver and himself. First, the nature of receiver. We are discussing the process of selecting the specific purposes. So, the first factor is the process is purpose is the nature of the receiver. The best advice concerning accommodation to a receiver is to take a receiver where it is and move it in the direction you want it to go. The subject matter, the realities of the topic area condition the purpose. The material that can be found, the data available, the issues that have been developed, the status of the problem, the total world, all have an impact on any given speech. Now, framing a specific purpose statement. Is the purpose clear, meaningful, and reasonably precise? Is the desired goal clearly identified? Is the goal one of persuasive nature, not merely information transmission, entertainment, or some other non-persuasive one? Does the purpose reflect the realities of receiver, subject matter, and the communication? Now, framing a specific purpose statement. Does the specific purpose have a reasonable potential of being accomplished? Because when we go for a higher route, for a higher discussion or argument in persuasion, we should take care of all these statement, the purpose statement. Does the specific purpose have a reasonable potential of being accomplished? Is the purpose essentially singular? Is the purpose free from the confusion of means and ends? Is the purpose statement adequately refined and modified as the thinking of the persuader and his analysis progress during the preparatory process? Now, affect the persuasion process on the source. A successful persuasion effort may place the source in a position to accomplish his goal. An unsuccessful persuasion effort may result in redoubting of effort, radically revising a strategy, shifting to new goals, or abandoning the effort. Effects of the persuasion process on the source. Again, behavior of the source immediately before, during, and after an open communication effort is obviously affected quite directly by the persuasion process. Now, how to be a good persuader? For the censor S, the focus is on facts and the use of 5 senses. The intuitor pays attention to a vision of what could be and also engages in the use of 6 senses. The thinker T person relies on intellectual processes, reason, and logic. The feeler F person, the key word is emotion, and logic may not play a significant part. Now, influencing different types. A person's decision making style derives from the 4 psychological states. They are usually paired with one of the 2 from the opposite function, so that is a combination of the 2 preferences. The 4 types have been categorized: sensing, thinking, that is ST, sensing, feeling, that is SF, intuitive feeling, that is NF, and intuitive thinking, that is NT. This is the code. Now, influencing different type, the ST person, that is the sensing and thinking. So, the sensing and thinking person focuses on specifics and variable facts like stability and certainty. Emphasize what can be achieved in the short term. Prepare well and have facts and any other data readily available. Explain things in a logical fashion. Conduct your dealings in a business-like and detached manner, leaving the personal side out of the proceedings. Avoid talking too much. The SF, that is sensitivity and the feeling, the sensing and the feeling, that is the SF person focuses on variable facts, believes in personal loyalty, trust, being helpful and friendly. For that, use all your natural empathy to conduct things on a personal basis after you have got to know them better. Look for shared interest. Back up your attentive listening with positive body language. Highlight the benefits to them of your proposal. Conduct the discussion in a methodical step by step manner. Now, third is the intuitive and the feeling. Intuitive feeling, that is the NF. The intuitive feeling person recognizes a wide range of possible opportunities and decides by weighing values and considering others. What are those? Ask lots of questions and then listen a lot. Force the person to speak, posing, throwing lots of questions. Show your natural friendliness during your interactions. Yes, a kind of friendly atmosphere. That to establish a friendly rapport. Try to go with the flow of what they want and adapt as necessary. Give some space to the persuadee too. Highlight what is new in what you are proposing. Yes, accommodating both the ideas, the new and the conventional one. Check the body language for any disagreement or confusion. It shouldn't be violent. This type often never voices their concern. So, you have to look for leakage, then question to unearth any concern. So, very important is to fix up the friendship, to establish the rapport, to get more and more from the person who is a persuadee. Now, the intuitive and the thinking. So, the fourth one is intuitive and thinking person prefers a variety of possible solution and then selects by impersonal analysis. So, the first is probe for their own ideas at the outset. Show that you recognize their vision, concepts and beware of giving the impression of being patronizing. Concentrate on business quickly and save any personal conversation. Accept that this type may bombard you with critical comments. Be logical in your proposals and emphasize cause and effect. Be punctual and well organized. You have to take care of all this. Now, testing is also very important. In the middle of the phase of a face-to-face meeting with a client or persuadee or whoever, the telephone rings. He apologizes and takes the call. While he is speaking, do you look at him and smile constantly? You should. Make a signal to him and sneak out to go to the toilet or chat to the secretary or receptionist. Turn your gaze away from him and perhaps occupy yourself with some papers or make some notes. Use body language to show your impatience, hoping it will make him hurry up. The person you are with keeps looking at her watch continuously during your decision. She does not think you have spotted this, but for the past 20 minutes it has been distracting you and prevented you giving your best. So what do? Hurriedly bring your discussion to a close. Just ignore it. It could be a nervous mannerism or obsessive compulsive disorder. Stop talking at each point that she looks at her watch. Ask her politely, how long have we got? You have discovered your reading pen has leaked and there is a lot of ink showing down front of your shirt. As you enter the interview's office, your mind is on how you can possibly conceal reading, do you? So say that you have just returned from a holiday in any place. Hope she won't notice. Keep your arms folded at all times. Explain on arrival what has happened and make fun of your carelessness. You are introduced to 3 new people and miss one of the names. What do? Not worry. 2 out of the 3 is not bad. Ask, sorry, I didn't catch your name. Make a guess. Ask one of the other 2 people the person's name, ideally when the person is distracted. You are telephoning somebody about something that is important to you. When you get through, she asks if you would not mind keeping it short as she is in a meeting. Do you? Get it over with quickly. It is always preferable. Ask lots of questions so that it will prolong the call in a natural manner. Tell her that you will write to her. Suggest that as she is busy, you prefer to call her later in the day when she might be free. Now, more persuasive tool, reuse some from conflict management. And what are these? Conflict response modes, move from complaint to request, use effective interpersonal skill, and that can be the very good positive persuasive tools. Now, effects of persuasion, that is really very important aspect of persuasion. Miller proposed that communication exert 3 different persuasive effects: shaping, reinforcing, and changing responses. Now, what is shaping? Attitudes are shaped by associating pleasurably environment with a product, person, or idea. Shaping your thought, shaping your argument, shaping your discussion. Reinforcing. Contrary to popular opinion, many persuasive communications are not designed to convert people, but to reinforce a position they already hold. And then changing. This is perhaps the most important persuasive impact, and the one that comes most frequently to mind when we think of persuasion. Communication can and do change attitude. Now, friend, let us discuss negotiation, because it is the part of persuasion. So, negotiation and persuasion are some ways to manage the conflict, and as I said in the beginning of this lecture that persuasion is cheaper than negotiation, because negotiation is expensive as is to give some kind of concession, but in the case of persuasion, persuasion doesn't need any kind of concession. So, persuasion is an important part of negotiation and an important part of leadership and life, including situations we might not identify as negotiation. So, sometimes it is very difficult to make distinction. Conferring with another so as to arrive at the settlement of the matter. As per the dictionary, it is the meaning of the negotiation. Negotiation is a basic means of getting what you want from others. It is a back and forth communication designed to reach an agreement when you and the other side have some interest that are opposed. Now, there are certain negotiation myths. What are these myths? Good negotiators are born. Experience is a great teacher. Good negotiators take risk. Good negotiators rely on intuitions. Negotiations are always win-lose. The only negotiations are formal or explicit negotiation. Good negotiators are tough, intimidating, and try to get everything they can. Now, these are myths because one has to practice in actuality. In reality, no one is born negotiator. One has to develop this quality. Now, crucial elements in every negotiation: information, time, power. So, information is very important in the sense only then you can get the base of the negotiation. And regarding information, prepare, inquire, listen and observe, direct and indirect. You are extracting the information from the person with whom you are going to negotiate. So, under the heading of information, you need to prepare yourself, then inquire, maybe by putting question. You listen very carefully and observe, direct or indirect. Best alternative to a negotiated agreement, this is called BATNA. This is the best theory, one of the best theories of negotiation, which we shall discuss while discussing the other aspect. So, the first is information, the second is time. Good to have flexibility. helps to know more about others' deadliness than they do about yours. Patience pays. Then power, many sources, real and inferred, can change during negotiation, can be crafted and acquired. Sophistication and restraint in using power. Now, negotiation required interdependence and recognized. Means that interdependence, you are caring, bothering for other also, recognizing other also, motivation to engage, how to motivate the other, the listener to involve in the discussion. Parties engage between avoidance and domination. Parties engage between avoidance and domination to make a balance. Enough power balance, reaching an active phase. Now, two main approaches, competitive and collaborative. Desirable to consider at least partly collaborative negotiation, not always possible, appropriate or sufficient. Often combine competitive and collaborative approaches and practices in versatile way, that is in principled negotiation. Now, difference is RECRIP goals. CRIP, what is CRIP? Content, win-lose versus win-win. Relational, unfriendly versus friendly. Identity, face-saving, rigid, confrontational versus flexible, supportive. And process, positional bargaining versus interest-based bargaining. Goal examples, content. Now, get Akash to work full-time on my project is starting next week. Relational, maintain good relation with Akash's boss Sunil. Identity, not appear weak to Sunil or others during this negotiation. And process, talk in person and privately. So this is the all process or goal in negotiation. Now, CRIP goals interact. Not all types of goal may be present. Goals overlap and differ in importance. Identity and relational issues underlie content and process issue. Content only solutions are rarely satisfying in serious situations, and goals change during interaction. Competitive communication patterns, high opening demands and concede slowly. Try to maximize tangible resource gain. Exaggerate value of concession offered. Use threat, confrontations, argumentation, forceful speaking, conceal and distort information, manipulate people and process, distort intentions, resources and goal, focus on content goals rather than relational goals. Competitive disadvantages can hurt relationship with mistrust, anger, breakdown, communication distortion, blocks creative exploration and potential joint gains. Payoff competitive actions are often overestimated. Encourages brinkmanship, impasses, may undermine implementation, commitment versus compliance. Now, collaborative communicative pattern, collaborative tactics, non-evaluative descriptive statement, disclosing a statement, honest inquiry, requesting feedback, supportive remark, concessions, accepting responsibility. Brainstorm, creative new options to meet everyone's interest, expand the pie. Log rolling, that can also be helpful, breezing, invent new option to meet the other's need. Minimize cost to other for going along with you. Collaborative disadvantage may pressure an individual to compromise and accommodate in ways not in his or her best interest. Avoid confrontational strategies. Increase vulnerability to deception and manipulation by a competitive opponent. Makes it hard to establish definite aspiration level and bottom lines. Requires substantial skill and knowledge of the process. Requires a strong confidence in one's perceptions regarding the interest and needs of other side. The ultimate game. First person proposes a division of the $100 in whatever fashion he or she chooses. If second person agrees, they distribute the $100 between themselves as specified. If the second person disagree, they both get nothing. Now, some important terms while discussing negotiation: bargaining mix, the set of issues. Having multiple items and being creative can be very helpful. BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated settlement. Sometimes are only two choices, good alternatives are important. Target point, ACA aspiration, desired end point. Resistant point, furthest from the target point a negotiator will do. A starting point, the first position a negotiator plans to take. Bargaining range, positive bargaining range, negative bargaining range, and likely a stalemate. Settlement point, the final point of agreement. Dilemma, hard or soft, offers third way, both hard and soft. Hard on merit and interest, soft on people. How to obtain what you are entitled to and still be decent. If the other side learns this strategy, it makes the negotiation easier, not harder. It is not an advantage to negotiate with an unskilled opponent if you will interact later. Now, 3 criteria for negotiation method, which, friends, I would like to discuss in the next lecture of mine. Till then, thank you very much.